Time to put it all together with Onshape Assemblies. So far, we've only made single shapes in Onshape, but what happens if we've got more than one part? What happens if the way they interact and go together is actually important? In this video, we're going to explore assemblies and mates. We're going to start with something really simple by building on the fidget spinner, and at the end of the video, we're going to look at the real power of assemblies by looking at something much more complicated. When we last left off, we had two finished objects, a spinning top and a fidget spinner. What we're going to do is add some extra parts today to learn about assemblies. First thing we're going to do is model the bearing. So we're going to start a sketch on the top plane, and we're going to spin our camera around and draw a circle in the middle. And then a circle inside that. Let's use a concentric constraint to get the same center point for all of these. And now dimension the size of our bearing. So the outside is 22 and the inside is 8. Close the sketch, ready to extrude. So we're going to do this part here. We're going to bring it up 8 millimeters, and we don't want to add, we want this to be a new part. Great, our bearing is finished. Let's rename it. And while we're at it, we'll rename our fidget spinner too. So we have two separate parts and they're in place, but really this is not suitable for an assembly. So what we're going to do is to create a cap on the top and bottom that we would hold so it spins in our hand nicely. Let's start a sketch on top of the bearing. And once again, we're going to spin the camera around and draw a circle in the middle. Then we're going to match the circle on the inside. To do this, we can use our equals constraint. And we'll dimension this one on the outside to be slightly smaller, so maybe about 18. One more circle on the inside, which you'll see the purpose of later on. All right, let's extrude this one again. We're going to do this in two parts. Firstly, the two center bits, and they're going to come up about 3 mils, make it a new part. Then we're going to turn back on our previous sketch and we're going to extrude one more time. If things are in the way and you can't see what you want to get to, then simply hide them from the parts list. We'll reverse that direction and we're going to come, instead of blind, up to face and set it to the bottom of the fidget spinner. And we're happy for it to add to part 4, which is the part we've just started. All right, let's hide that sketch. That's looking great. Let's start another sketch one final time. Another circle. We're going to use our constraint to set it the same as our other side. And one more circle in the middle, this time a little bit bigger at 5 mils instead of 4.5. Let's close that. We want our two center parts to come up, and once again about 3. We want this to be a new part once again. That's looking great. Let's use some chamfers to make them look a little bit more streamlined. This measurement is far too large, so we'll make it smaller and we'll get a much nicer shape. Let's quickly name our two new parts. We've got the top cap and the bottom cap. Turn the bearing back on and you can see we now have 5 parts here, 4 of which make up the fidget spinner. Time to start an assembly. The tab is created by default, and when we switch to it, there will be nothing in it. The purpose of an assembly is to let us arrange things so we can group them together, and it also let us mate things together into position so they have freedom of movement as required. Let's begin by going to Insert. Let's start with the bearing. and we simply click to place it, and I'll hit the tick for now because I'm happy with that. The first mate I'm going to do is a fastened mate. There's nothing particularly special about this one, but we're going to use it to lock the center of the bearing to the origin. You'll notice as you hover the mouse around, you have this little 3 colored symbol coming up. The one we're really worried about here is the blue. So I'm going to mouse over until I see the blue in the very center, and that pole is going through the middle. I'm going to come to the origin and aim for the same thing. So right now the blue is facing down, so that's ideally what I would like. Okay, that's what we want, so let's hit the tick. Time to bring in our next components. Let's bring in the top and bottom caps. Now these are already facing the same direction, but in an assembly you can click and drag something to move it around. You can also do a single click and then use the arrows and the arcs to move things where you want them. If you're trying to align something complicated, it's a good idea to move it roughly into place first, just to help you visualize what you're trying to do. Let's use another fastened mate because we want this to be locked to the center of the bearing. And we're going to set it to the middle of the bearing again. Then we're going to learn a little trick. So if we come to the underside, we might be hovering to try and find the middle, but as we move the mouse towards the middle for this flat surface, it's influenced by the other parts. So what we're going to do is hold Shift, and now we can come to the center and it stays exactly where we want it. That looks excellent. Same thing one more time, fastened mate to the bottom, and then let's find the center once again. If you find that it's facing the wrong way, you have these 2 buttons here. They'll swap the direction and also the rotation. Set the tick, and we fasten these to the center of the bearing. Our final component is the actual fidget spinner, so let's bring that in. We're going to try a different type of mate, this time a revolute mate, because we want this to be able to spin, we don't want it to be fixed. So let's do this one from the bottom. I'm going to hold Shift on this surface, come into the middle, and then I'll do the same for the bearing, hold Shift, come into the middle and click. Although it looks the same as all the other ones, if we hit play, it'll animate the degree of freedom, and we can see here that it's not moving up and down, but it is revolving around the bearing as we would hope. So let's hit the tick, and now we can test this. If I click and drag on the fidget spinner, I can't get it to go up and down. All I can get it to do is to rotate as intended. This means our assembly is very accurate. This is a very simple example with one moving part. Let's look at a more complicated example to understand why we might need an assembly. Here we have the part studio for a complicated part which is from a laser cutter's carriage. You see that I've modeled 4 components. The first being the heatsink. That was the existing part of the printer. It's an aluminium extrusion. Then after that, I designed a part to slot in that attaches to the gantry of the laser cutter. And then I have a little clip which fits on the side of the extrusions, and then a gear which goes onto that. The idea being that when you twist the gear by hand, it acts as a rack and pinion on these side gears, and then you can move the laser carriage up and down very carefully. I've got another part studio here that, apart from the fan shroud designed to fit that top extrusion, I've taken the other 2 parts from the public gallery by importing them into my document to save time modeling. There's no point doing it twice. And now we have the assembly. So some things to notice straight away is, back in the part studio I only modeled 1 gear, but in assemblies you can bring up multiple copies of the same item. So there's 2 gears in here, and there's 2 gear clips as well. Also managed to bring in the parts from our fan shroud part studio and our part studio 1. We have the fan shroud sitting on top and our gear parts on the side. Let's have a look at some of the mates I've already put in here. So this first one joins the mounting bracket to the extrusion, and I've told it that I want it to slide up and down in that channel. If I hit the play button to animate, you can see that it's locked in exactly like that. If I wanted to step this up a little bit more, I could type in the limits and give it a minimum and a maximum so it can't go off the bottom like you saw during the animation. I've also added sliders for the little clips that come in the side here, so that's what the next 2 mates are. Next one I've done are revolutes, and that's just like we did on our fidget spinner. They allow, if we try, these 2 gears to spin. The last one I'm going to do, which shows you the real power of assemblies and these mates, is to do a rack and pinion. Once we click this, it's expecting to find existing mates. So instead of clicking on the part like we do when we make a normal mate, we're going to use the ones in the feature tree. So for this one, we're going to use the slider of the rear of the clip going up and down, and then the revolute mate of this. And it's telling it that this will slide up and down when this one spins. I know from trial and error that I need to reverse it and set it to about 90 mils of travel per rotation. There's no animate button here, but you can test it by hitting the tick, clicking on it, and then rotating. We can see here we have a pretty good relationship with the meshing. The same thing works in reverse. If I click on the clip and then use the arrows, you can see that I get the desired movement. One final note on assemblies is if you're manufacturing or exporting, you might find it an excellent way to group things together. For instance, if you were making a car with 4 wheels, in the part studio you model the body and one wheel, and then you put them all together in position, and then you're ready to export to put through some sort of other testing program. Hopefully you've learned something new with assemblies. Stay tuned for more next time. G'day, it's Michael again. If you liked the video, then please click like. If you want to see more content like this in future, click subscribe and make sure you click on the bell to receive every notification. If you really want to support the channel and see exclusive content, become a patron. Visit my Patreon page. See you next time.